bienvenidos a otro episodio de Chisme Time. Ya hacía falta, ya.
Woo.
¿Cómo estás, María?
Bien, bien is the surprised because we were talking right now that it's crazy how fast this month,
Yeah,
is going by. Like,
yeah.
yeah, que 2 more weeks and it's over.
I know. I feel like it flew by. Like I didn't even get to enjoy my birthday month.
No, sí, ya la Diana cumpleaños next weekend. Woo. Pero bien bendecida, super blessed, right, girl?
Sí, blessed vibes.
Yeah,
Blessed vibes only.
so we're back with more Chisme Time. We've been focused on new things that we want to do, and there's just so many changes happening that, we're
Se me
trying
acabó
to
la luz.
like. Se le acabó la luz, Adrián. You see, guys,
Ah!
if you guys are like watching this on YouTube, then you'll get it. Pero todo bien con la luz.
This is how I really look.
You can connect it, like there's no USB where you can like connect it.
Yeah, but it's super tight. Oh, dang it. Technical difficulties.
Así es
A
la
ver.
vida. Oh. We were talking about how fast this month has been. Y luego a Diana se le fue su lucecita que
Yeah.
usa on her laptop. But we're back. No. So, there's so many things that we want to catch up on. Y igual aquí en Chisme, sabemos que Chisme Time, it's just, us talking about chisme, about ourselves, about what's going on around the world. And there's so much happening for Insightful Babes. Muy buenas cosas happening that we want to be able to share it all. But, ahí vamos. Pasito a pasito, poquito a poquito les contamos. I do feel proud of my Spanish, Diana. I do have to say.
Yeah, your Spanish is getting better. I think you're practicing more, no?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I am practicing more. Like I try to speak Spanish now with my parents, especially with my mom. I've been hanging a lot with my mom because she's
Good.
Mexican, so she knows that good Spanish, ese español que uno no entiende and you're like, "What?"
Sí. Como el del video ese del,
Oh
del
yes,
guy que
or
habla
the
bien proper
video.
Spanish.
Yes, you guys can like watch that video on our
Yeah.
Insightful Babes Instagram. We share this video, and yeah, like that type of Spanish, like no muy fresa tampoco,
Sí,
right?
sí, sí.
Pero yeah. So I've been like putting myself out there more with like my Spanish, and I think it's helping, like at least with
Mhm.
my confidence, because I think that's all like that's where it all happens with your confidence, how
Mhm.
confident you are. If you're not confident enough, then you're probably gonna mess up, or yeah.
Yeah.
And now that I'm talking a little more Spanish, like I'm not where I want to be yet, but
Yeah.
at least I do feel a little more confident. So, pero it's weird. Y te voy a contar algo, and I want to know, guys, if you've experienced this or if I'm the only one that has experienced this. But like hace días, we were at this mercado, a Latino mercadito, right? Like
Mhm.
venden puras cosas mexicanas and everything. And I was wearing my Mexico shirt, like the soccer,
Oh, okay.
like, yeah. So I was wearing that. Y se ve ¿verdad? Pues uno sabe cuando es la camisa de México, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, because of the colors. And I was wearing like the one that has like the Aztec, like patterns, you see?
Mhm.
Anyway, so I was with my mom and I was speaking Spanish with her. And throughout the whole like tiendita, pues,
I'm sorry. Gabe, be careful. She just almost threw my computer down. Yeah, I'm recording.
no,
Go,
Harley.
Harley. My heart sunk.
I
I thought my computer was
saw.
gonna fly. I was like, oh, this is it. This is how it ends.
No.
Ah!
Diana.
I can't. Oh my god, this sucks. I feel like it's just.
Todo pasó en un ratito. What is happening? Are you guys okay? Is everything okay?
I'm sweating.
Did you make Carly get mad or something? Like, what is going
No,
on?
it's because they're playing in the room and I could hear them like playing, and I'm like, whatever. And he opened the door to take something out, and she ran out. So so yeah, she ran, and like I have have everything connected to the wall, like my charger. So she
Sí.
came and she threw everything.
Ay, Harley.
Oh,
The Harley, like, never misses her chance to come out
right? Like
of the
never.
podcast. So I had the Mexican shirt, right? Like the it's from soccer, and we were at the tiendita where they sell all of like the Mexican stuff, like
Mhm.
dulces and everything.
Yeah.
And we were about to pay, right? We go to the register and like ahí estamos y ya íbamos a pagar. And the lady that was there, she looks at me and then she starts talking to me in English. And like I have nothing against like, okay, verdad, pues sí, like
Hmm.
pues a lo mejor quiere pues hablar inglés, like, because people are bilingual and I totally
Yeah.
get that. I do that también, right? And not because we're in a like tiendita, verdad, Latino
Sí.
tiendita, you have to speak Spanish, like they can speak English. But this hasn't been like the first time. Like ya me ha pasado muchas veces that they hear me talk Spanish, right? Or with my mom, and they know that I speak Spanish, and
Hmm.
like me preguntó, ¿verdad? ¿Va a querer bolsas? Pero en en inglés. Are you gonna
Ajá.
want bags? Y yo le contesté en español, ¿verdad? Dije, sí,
Sí.
sí, por favor. To kind of like, maybe she didn't hear me right, that I speak
Yeah.
Spanish. So, and she had an accent, right? So I was like, sí, para que pues sepa, ¿verdad? Que yo hablo
Sí.
español. And then she's like, she then like replied back, but in English. And I was just like, why?
Yeah.
Is my Spanish not good? Like,
Oh my God.
y luego at that time I was like, volteo a ver a mi mamá and le digo algo yo en español a mi mamá a little more louder, so like, para que entienda la señora, de que, oiga, si hablo español, o sea,
Sí,
traigo
sí.
la playera de México,
Ajá.
like, and like, no, like, me vuelve a preguntar algo en inglés, and I was just like, okay, like, I don't know, like, maybe she wanted to practice her English, I don't know.
Yeah, that's why. Uh-huh.
But it hasn't been the first time, like, siempre me pasa. Y last time I did ask my brother, I was like, do I look white? Like, is there a part of me that makes people think that I'm white? Like, I'm
Uh-huh.
trying to, like, pues, I don't know, I'm just being myself. And he was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you probably do. You have some white vibes. I was like, oh, wow.
Oh my God.
No sé, bro. Uno acá tratando de
De
practicar el
practicar.
español y la gente no ayuda.
Maybe she is trying to practice her English.
¿Verdad?
Maybe she's trying.
Pues,
Porque sí me ha pasado a mí
sí.
también, like that they do that to
Sí,
me too. But I mean,
¿verdad?
I'm morenita, so I don't know why they. Maybe they think that like some people get like really offended if you like. They think that if they think that you think that they can speak English,
What?
literally. If they think that they think. Pero I don't
¿Quién
know.
sabe?
Some people get like that. Like, oh, I could speak English. Like, you don't have to speak to me in Spanish.
Bueno, and that's like my
Maybe.
first thought. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
that's my first thought. Like when they're very persistent. Yeah, entonces I kind of like, okay, pues a lo mejor they want to practice their English,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, there's been moments when like they even like talk Spanish to my mom, but they don't talk Spanish to me. So that's where it gets a little
Wow. Yeah, that's weird.
like what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
And there's been times that I've been like wanting to ask them, but no, I think that's
Yeah.
that's just rude and I
No.
don't know. No,
Yeah, I don't
no,
know. Te
no,
va a
no,
salir
no.
de ahí peleada, girl.
Bien, así como los K-dramas, no bien dramatic, voy a andar
Ándale.
yo.
Ajá.
No. Sí, pero no sé. Let us know, guys, if you've experienced this before. That it's just so weird. I don't know. Like I'm trying my best to speak Spanish,
Yeah.
and it's just an awkward thing. I don't know. Maybe it only happen. Well, obviously, it only probably happens here in the U.S. I'm trying to think like if when I went to Mexico. No, en México sí me hablaron español. Yeah. No, it's probably just here in the
Yeah,
US.
probably.
Sí, sí. ¿Y tú cuando fuiste a México, es en español todo? O si te trataron de hablar en inglés?
Mm, no, I think just Spanish. I mean,
¿Ya?
Eddie, yeah, my husband, see, in English sometimes. Pero
Ujú.
porque él no, he doesn't really know how to speak
Sí.
Spanish.
Ay, el Eri ya necesita aprender.
Ya sé.
Anda
He's
practicando. Ahí
playing there.
anda.
He's
Ah.
sitting there. But yeah, I think mostly him. But no, usually I would be the one talking. I would be the one
No.
like,
See, no, I don't know. It's just a weird, like,
that's
weird
strange.
thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, that was the little story, a little chisme that I had, and then I
Yeah.
found it super, super weird, and I still
Hmm.
find it super weird. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Do you think it's like
Hmm.
I'm gonna get into this and colorism?
Mm.
Do you feel it might be that?
It might be. Yeah.
¿Tú crees?
Hmm.
Sí.
Yeah,
Y
it really might be that.
los,
Um,
como que los latinos, there's just a lot of that. Y todavía, like it
mm,
should, there shouldn't be, like, ya estos tiempos, like, pero a lo mejor y sí, porque todavía hay like, I have family members, ya, ¿verdad? Like, mayores de
mayores.
edad, que todavía piensan así. Um, and like I try to like les explico, verdad, and things like that. We have to educate them on what that is, because I guess back then it was normal, right? Like, let's put an example:
Okay.
the Koreans, verdad?
Hmm. Yeah.
If you've been like if you guys been like watching all of these Korean dramas and the idols, and they use all of these whitening creams, and like they're very like addicted to like
Yeah, the lighting thing.
whiteness,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
um, o sea, y yo creo que pues todo eso viene de atrás, right? Like,
See.
it's
Well, you
just
know what's even
crazy.
crazy? Like it it's funny because people, I guess they were so used to it back then. Like it's crazy how, like, no sé si te ha pasado que you hear somebody say like, oh, when somebody has a baby, yeah, let's say like, oh, ya nació, es en fulanita, whatever. Like, oh, sí, está bien bonita, está bien blanquita, tiene los ojos hasta de
Oh,
color. Like it's
yeah,
it's so annoying to me because I'm like, why is that considered beautiful? Like,
right.
why you can be like, oh, y luego si sale morenita, ay, no, salió bien morena, salió bien negrita, salió bien,
Yeah,
like, that is so
sí es
annoying.
cierto.
And I'm like, dude, can we like stop
Yeah.
saying that? Like, it's just annoying.
It is. It's like, ya en estos tiempos ya eso nada que ver. O sea, it should have
Hmm.
never like been like that. Pero bueno, pues
Yeah.
antes era diferente, ¿verdad? Y society was like, their mindset was just
Hmm.
not in the right place. But like,
And
yeah,
it's us
yeah.
Latinos too, though, like
Mm,
us Latinos saying
yeah.
that about our own brown color. Like,
Sí,
yeah.
nuestra propia raza,
Hmm.
nuestra propia gente. Like,
Yeah.
sí, y todavía se ve, pero yo creo que that's when the new generation, us, this generation, you who are listening to this,
Hmm.
it's up to us
Yep.
to start changing that. Porque si no, ahí va la cadenita y nunca termina. So
Ándale.
it's like, ¿qué importa si te ves más morenito o si te quemaste porque fuiste a la playa,
Sí.
Did you enjoy, being at the beach? Sí, pues
Yeah.
okay, like, eso es lo que te deben de preguntar en lugar de que, ay, te quemaste, ay, ya te hiciste más
Mm.
moreno, ay, it's like,
Sí.
están traumados todos,
No,
pobrecitos.
sí te trauman porque even me, like I'm morenita, so like
Ujú,
even when I was younger, like, oh, no te vas a quemar, or like, no te
mm.
pongas este color, no te pongas por el amarillo,
Ay, los
o ay,
colores de
te
ropa.
ves bien ridícula con el amarillo, or like you
Mm,
can't wear bright colors because you're dark skin. It's like, no, like, and now that I'm like, of course, older, and I'm like, no,
yeah.
I'll wear whatever color I want. I mean,
Yeah.
what I mean, of course, like
Lo que
what
te
looks good on you, what
guste.
doesn't, pero si te gusta,
Ujú,
like, póntelo, que te valga, like,
yeah.
and I feel like we were always so brought up to live to those standards. Like, no, no me puedo poner eso porque estoy morenita, or in the
Mm,
summer, like, I would hate it because I would get like more morenita, and I would feel like, oh, ya me quemé toda, and like,
yeah.
if I wear this color, like, I'm not gonna look good or whatever. But now I'm like, I'm good. Like I embrace it now, and I think it takes time to like embrace yourself and embrace your like your yeah your morenita self. You know, it takes a while to embrace that, but
Mm,
like I feel like when every time I hear that, like I get like a little oh like why would you say something like that?
the cringe moment. Like, ugh,
See,
like no, don't say
it's
it.
2023 people.
Yeah, yeah. Pero bueno, pues eso
Hmm.
ojalá y poco a poco vaya cambiando. That's up to us, this new generation.
Yep.
And I am trying my best to educate, to help all of
Hmm.
these people who still think that way. Pero sí, sí cae mal, cae mal. Um,
And do you feel like
but,
it's hard to educate people? Like you don't want because usually it's like older people that say stuff
mhm,
like that, and you don't want to be, of course, rude or like like
mhm.
ay no me hables, like don't be rude,
No me
to your
importa. No me
sí,
importa.
esta chamaca que trae.
Sí.
O
No.
se cree mucho or like
Oh,
oh my gosh, it's just like so much. Like I feel like every
sí.
time you try to do something, like it goes into something else. Like if I try to educate or like say like hey you
Mm.
shouldn't say that, like ay pues quién eres tú para
¿Quién te
decirme qué hacer,
crees?
a quién te crees, quién se cree mucho, it's like oh my gosh, like
Uh, it's
it's
like I'm
the
trying to help
struggles.
you.
I know that's I mean that's how I feel sometimes, but like you could
Sí.
still maybe speak up and voice your opinion and stuff, but just it's sometimes it's funny to me that I'm like oh now I'm gonna get criticized for something else, but uh,
Yeah.
I think
You know,
it's
and
just
the topic for this episode, guys, for this Chisme Time, we're kind of like focusing on the Mexican American side. Diana and I are
mhm.
both Mexican American or Hispanic or Latinos, ya no sé qué, ya no sé, ya no sé qué no, like what we are.
Chicanas.
It's kind of like, did you ever have to like put white on the, what's it called, the ethnicity chart
Yeah.
thingy? Like,
Mhm.
it was so
Yeah.
awkward,
Yeah.
when you know that you're Hispanic, you know that you're Latina, you know that you're Mexican American, and then te dicen, circle the white option. Huh? uh,
QB.
what? What'd you say? It's
¿Qué
like,
dijo?
like, like, it's, no sé, o sea, eso sí me sacaba de onda. ¿A ti
Sí.
no?
Sí, sí, sí. Yeah, I remember that happened to me a couple of times. I was like, that's gonna mess up the senses. No, I'm just kidding. But
I
I was
think
like,
that's why they do that, no?
I think so, yeah.
Like siempre eso me sacaba de onda, and I was
Sí.
just like, why? Like why? Oh, it's just you
Mhm.
have to just circle that. And then there was this one time where I was like circling the Hispanic one, like the Hispanic
Mhm.
option. Y la maestra, no, 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 erase that. Put the white. It's the white. I was like, huh? What? What did
What?
you say? I mean,
What did
I'm
he?
like, I'm Latina, I'm Hispanic. Like,
Yeah. Hmm.
I don't know. It's just weird. Or maybe it's for like the schools, or so they can like say that, oh, we have more white students than Hispanics.
Probably, yeah. You know what's
I
crazy? Like, and that's why I feel like there's a like, for example, us, we were born like, in the United States, and then we were or whatever Mexican American. But I also feel like since we were kids, at least for me, and I know I've heard a lot of this, like the stories as well, that our parents didn't really want us to speak in Spanish. Like they wanted us to learn English so bad, and like they would focus on us learning the English and the English. Y
see.
hasta pues por eso están los no sabo kids, because
Yeah.
we focus so much on them trying to like fit in here in
Mm,
the US that we've kind of, make them forget, like kind of make us forget about our culture, or like we want to fit in so bad that we forget, we forget to speak Spanish, or we never really took the time.
mm-hmm.
And even like my husband, he's like, yeah, sometimes we couldn't even like, no, they wanted us to speak English, like to learn English. So I feel like that's how it is, like we want to fit in so bad, or we don't want to like stand out from like the rest. So we
Yeah.
try to like, fit in there. I don't know if
See.
you feel like that. Mhm.
See. Yeah. That's true. It is like. I think it all happens, en la casa. Ahí es donde
Mm-hmm.
empieza todo. Like you said, there are parents that are afraid for us to not understand English, and because English
Mm-hmm.
is what we all, use here in the US. So even like in schools, like yes, I wasn't bilingual probably just like my first 2 years in school,
Mm-hmm.
and then they switched me to English because I was at a point where I was speaking more English than Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, I was in English, and then at home I did speak Spanish. Like my mom was pretty strict with me on
Mm-hmm.
that, de que en la casa sí se hablaba español. Como el
Mm-hmm.
the
Come-
meme del de
Aquí
caso
se
cerrado.
habla español.
That was my mom, guys.
Yeah.
Igualita, así. I
Con
love
la
you, mom.
chancla.
Sí, pero sí, sí, like, así era. Si decíamos una palabra en inglés, español, español, But then
Mm-hmm.
obviously, when it got to a point where she had to work y no estaba casi en la casa, that's when I started like using more English. Y se me olvidó el Spanish, and then yeah, it was a whole thing. But right now, I'm coming back and learning again
Yeah.
Spanish. I already know Spanish, and I feel like I'm just getting better at it. At least not perfect, guys. No me
Woo.
vayan a juzgar. But yeah, I don't know. Let's talk about traditions.
Do you feel like you have a tradition that you really like, and then one that you were like, okay, it's time to kind of switch it up a little bit, or kind of let go of it?
The school tradition.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, at least for women, there's a lot of pressure when you get to a certain age, right? De que te tienes que casar, you have to get married, you have to have kids, la familia, ¿verdad?
Mm-hmm.
Es importante, la, la. And it's always like in a specific age. It's in your 20s. As soon as
Yeah.
you get into your 20s as a Latina, that's when the pressure starts, like que, y el
Mm-hmm.
novio, y cuando te vas a casar, so there's all of this.
Se va
Instead
el
of them
tren.
asking, ándale, instead of
Mm-hmm.
them asking about your goals, about your dreams, like your career,
Mm-hmm.
they start pressuring you. And yeah, and it is a tradition, right? Like it's a pretty well known tradition for a Latina to graduate from school and then get married and then was, have kids and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's one tradition that I wish they could change. I mean, I think it's getting there now.
Mm-hmm.
In
A
this
little bit.
generation, like this generation is slowly making changes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I know we're not fully where we want to be. So that was one tradition that I was thinking about. No sé si
Mm-hmm.
hay otra, Diana. Probably muchas.
Muchas. I think like
Muchas.
I think the tradition of having like the whole family involved in everything.
Oh,
Like for me is like, like you have to have like, okay, ya todavía te vas en pressure que te cases, ¿verdad? Y luego te estás en pressure que tengas una boda y si no las invitas, újole. You have to have
only
like this
bestie.
massive wedding,
No.
and like then you have your children, and then you have to be there when the children's born, the child is
Ay,
born.
sí.
Y si le vas a poner el nombre de tu abuelita, le vas a poner el nombre, like it's just so many things. Like, no, but I feel like that's one of the traditions that's like, okay, I think we should all have like those boundaries, respect the boundaries. And like, I feel like some families are getting more, open-minded about those things,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like that's still huge. Sometimes I hear people talking about that, and it's like they still have to have like these huge weddings and invite el tía del tío de los second removed cousin from I don't know where that you don't even know. And and it's like
Que nada más van a comer.
see, and it's like no, like if you just want to do something like small or like do it
Yeah.
your way, like you should be able to, get married at the beach or go in a
Mm-hmm.
destination wedding or whatever you want to do. And
Yeah.
like
It's your
if you don't,
moment.
yeah, or if you don't want to have children, like you don't have to, you don't have to. Like I feel like that's one of
There's
the
no
traditions.
pressure.
Yeah, like there's no boundaries with like Latino families. Like Sometimes we're just all up on each other's like business, but
It's true.
that's one of the traditions that I would say, okay, we could probably ease off of that.
That is true. Did you ever feel different from your family from like Mexico? I guess
Mm,
like with your lifestyle and and everything. Like no te sentías
yeah.
ni de aquí ni de allá, como dicen.
See, I mean, always like cuando estamos, chiquitas, we lived in Mexico for some time, and siempre decían like, oh, son del Paso, se creen mucho, or like, oh, no sabes español, se cree mucho, and like, it wasn't that. It just was like it was a whole different lifestyle, and it was just a whole different lifestyle from like my Mexico family to like being in the U.S. and stuff.
Sí.
Pero I did would see that a lot, or like if you like a certain type of music, like oh, it's son cholos, and it's like what? Like
Sí, había
no, I'm not.
mucho eso.
See, and I'm like what? No, like this is
Yeah.
it's just so different cultures, and it's so crazy
Mm-hmm.
because it was like we're Mexican, but like
Mm-hmm.
we're still Mexican American, so it's like even it's like different cultures from like our Mexican family, but we're still
Yeah.
Mexican. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if that
Yeah,
makes
it's
sense,
like
but
the like that video you shared on Insightful Babes with the Selena movie, right? Like
I uh-huh.
where they talk about that like we have to be better Mexican and better
Mm-hmm.
Americans, like los dos. So it's
Sí.
extra work. So like if you really want to know pressure, what pressure is like, what how to feel that pressure, just join a Latino family.
I know, right?
You'll know what pressure is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
at least
sí,
like
sí, sí
that's what
pasa.
we know, like that's our culture, so like that's what we
See,
could
aquí
speak
está,
about. Uh-huh.
yeah, that's what we're sharing, guys. We're sharing our very own experiences. We're not saying that everybody goes through it because
Mm-hmm.
everybody's different. Everybody, has different experiences. A lo mejor y algunos no se hacen relate to all of this. And even like with my Spanglish girl, like Spanglish, not a lot of my
Yeah.
family likes Spanglish.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like that. And I am pretty Spanglish. I am. And guys,
Same.
if you've been tuning in since Eiffel Babes, Diana and I are super Spanglish, and
Mm-hmm.
that's who we are. And we've learned to embrace it. It took time for me to embrace that. That was something that I
Mm-hmm.
was like, no, it's either English or it's either Spanish.
Yeah.
Pero pues ya, ahora it's like, no, like I do speak Spanglish and that is who I am and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Yes, I live in the United States and maybe I should be speaking English, but no, not me.
But no.
No, not me. And we even
Mhm.
created a podcast in Spanglish, guys. So like,
Exactly,
bien
right?
jefas aquí, bien bosses. You can't
And then
tell us we can't speak
I
Spanglish.
feel like the US is like a mixture of everything too. So it's like you can't be like, oh, you speak
Mm.
English only. Like it's a mixture of
Ay, sí,
everything,
como esos
like
videos de la
no
gente.
manches, o sea, no sean ridículas, las Karens.
¿En serio? No, no. Ay, pero bueno, está pasando
Oh,
mucho.
bueno,
Está pasando de
uh,
todo aquí.
and I wanted to kind of ask about like, um, because I know we had talked about like you
Mhm.
struggling with setting boundaries, Maria. Like I know
Mm,
we had talked a couple of times about it in like our episodes. So
yeah.
like I know you've been getting better at it. Like I see it. I've seen your growth and I've seen you go through stuff. So like how like kind of what was like the last straw that you were like, okay, yeah, I need to like start setting these boundaries, and like what was the first thing that you did to start setting the actual bound like to actually do it?
The pressure. Like I was
Yeah.
saying, it's
Mm-hmm.
that pressure. Ya llegas a lo máximo, right? And I live with my parents, guys. I'm a 20-some-year-old girl.
Awesome.
Living with her parents todavía. And I love living with my parents because obviously I can save money, rent y
Girl, I wish I
todo.
lived with my parents. So much money.
Y like te cocinan y no de
I
vez en
know.
cuando porque ya no quieren cocinar. I'm sorry, mom. I'm just kidding. Putting her on
Ahorita van a
blast.
ver la chancla ahí.
Órale. No. Uh, but like obviously, if you live with your Hispanic parents or even like just in general, right? Like if you live with your parents and you're 20 some years old, ¿verdad? Yeah, it gets to a point where you start realizing that you're gonna need boundaries, and you're no longer a kid, right? You're an
Mm-hmm.
adult. So,
Yeah.
like, there are new things that have changed, and you have to, like, let your parents know, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you can't just come into my room. No, you can't just, like, say that we're gonna have a gathering without you, like, telling me first. That was something that I had to, like, you start, like, I started sharing my calendar with my parents,
Mm-hmm.
and it was intense, guys, but like
Yeah.
they understood because, well, they do see me, everything that I'm doing, and it's something new for them as well, because, like, they're not used to, like, online things, right? And
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing with Insightful Babes, there's a lot of, like, scheduling and a lot of, like, recordings, and este día tal fecha da, da, da. And it's like I had to, like, share my calendar with them. So, like, as soon, it's kind of like Diana and I, we do that, right, Diana? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we share each other's calendars, and we're like, okay,
Yeah.
Maria, I can this day. Okay, Diana, yo este día no, da da da. So I had to do the same thing with my parents, and it was all about, like, setting those boundaries. And that's one of the ways that I started setting my boundaries with them, by sharing my calendar and letting them know ahead of time. Even, like, my brother is younger than me, and he's like, but I'm his only sister, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, let's go here, let's do this, da da da. So I even have to, like, tell him, okay, like, estos días, da da da, I can't, right? And, or this
Mm-hmm.
time to this time, I'm free, but not this time. So it's something that they've learned to to get used to. And that was one way. That was one way, and it's working for me and for them. Um, but yeah, I think I'm getting a little more organized with that. I'm pretty
Okay.
spontaneous. I've shared that before, and I'm the type of person, like, que si ahorita se me antoja ir no sé, a comprar unos tacos, like, random, I'll just,
Mm.
like, go, or, I'm that type of person. I'm pretty spontaneous, and my friends know this, that I'm pretty spontaneous. I like to just, like, I don't like to go with a plan. Pero eso
Mm-hmm.
también, when you're an entrepreneur, they
Yeah, you
have
have to
to,
have.
you have to have certain plans, guys. If you want to reach a certain goal, there has to be a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I've been learning, girl. I've been learning
Yeah.
to schedule better,
Mm-hmm.
organize myself better, and I feel like I'm getting there, or at least finding a certain balance
Yeah.
with all of that.
And it takes time. Like you guys, you can't just from one day to another, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good and it takes time to like heal all of that, to set those boundaries, to,
Hmm.
do. So don't be so hard on yourself and just, keep going and don't expect everything to change
Yeah.
in a
Did you
day or
ever
like give time. Give
Did
it
you ever
time.
feel guilty when you started setting boundaries? Porque, like, we're
Oh my
very,
gosh.
I know that you two, like, like, Diana and I are super like, connected with our families, like, we love them
Yeah.
so much, and, y somos de buen corazón, ¿verdad, Diana?
Sí, sí, pues soy. Ay, tengo un corazón de pollo yo.
Yeah. Las insightful babes tienen corazón de pollo.
Mhm.
We
I
are, we
really
are.
do. Yeah, and like I love it and I hate it, but
Hmm.
it was really hard for me too. And
Yeah.
like, one of one of the traditions is probably like also, of course, like love on your parents and help your parents out with whatever you can. Like, I'm not
Hmm.
saying don't help them out, but if it's to the point that you're like losing yourself because you need it, like you feel like obligated to help, then that's not good either.
Yeah.
Like that's not a good thing to do. So that was one of my issues, that I was like
Yeah.
struggling to like help and all that, and I had to like really unlearn that. Like it was hard. It was probably like one of the hardest things I had to do, but like I also feel like things happen for a reason. Like I had to kind of move away from home to like really learn all that and like kind of get rid of that habit, and it wasn't easy. Like it was the hardest thing I think I ever had to do.
Hmm.
But now I'm just so grateful that I actually, went through with it and did it, because now those boundaries on there are there, and you know people will respect those boundaries if you put them there. And if they don't respect them, then you know that they're not doing like they never had the best, like your best interest. So
Hmm.
at least you know that. But yeah, that was
Yeah.
it takes time and it's really hard, but
Oh yeah.
I feel like just keep pushing, and keep setting them. Like people are always gonna try and push back, of course. Like you have your boundary, they're gonna try and see how far they could go, but you always have to push back and no, this is how far you could go. Like you can't go over that. So I think you always have to kind of like stand firm and yeah, just trying to like stand your ground.
Yeah. What
Mhm.
type of differences do you see now that like you started setting boundaries? Like what's something different that
Mm,
you started noticing about yourself or your lifestyle? Like what changed?
I think like for me was like I believed more in myself. Like I always
Oh.
thought I would have to be like I always thought like I was gonna be like this. Not that having boundaries. See, that's the thing. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
people say if you have boundaries, you're not nice. And you always have like the thing. Like at least for me, like I always try to be. Oh, I'm nice. So like I don't want to be mean. I don't want to. So that's why I don't like. I wouldn't set boundaries with people, or I would pretty
Mm-hmm.
much like go with the flow. But I think that was my like. It opened my eyes to say, you know what? Had not like having boundaries doesn't make you a mean person or doesn't make you like a bad person. It just makes you a person that like you're actually standing up for yourself, and you're putting
Smarter.
your yeah, like you're putting yourself first. You're putting like not selfish either, like but you're
Mm.
putting your needs first, and sometimes you have to do that because then people of course keep taking advantage and taking advantage. So that
Yeah.
was like one of the things that I learned, like oh, I can be this strong person. I can be this person that really has boundaries. Like I can be, I can stand my ground and I'm not overly nice and I'm not like a pushover. So that was one of the things that I learned, like oh, I actually like this person, being that way, being assertive, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. That is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess for me it was like I guess I was able I don't guess. I know. I'm more aware. I'm more aware of how I'm
Mhm.
feeling. Like como dices tú, when you don't have those boundaries, you start doing things for other people and you just start doing it kind of like it's a habit, right? Like oh, I need
Mhm.
this. Yes, I'll be there. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I'll do that. Okay, yes. And you have like a million things on your schedule y lo pones todo a un lado to help that one person that probably didn't have anything on their schedule. They could have done it themselves,
Yeah.
you know. Y eso todo eso, it's not like it doesn't allow you to really pay attention to yourself. Like at least that
Mhm.
was my experience, like I would
I
just
agree.
help, and I had like homework, I had this, I had that, and like yeah, I wasn't even paying attention to how I was feeling. Was I healthy enough? Ya cuando me
Mhm.
acordaba, ya me enfermaba, or things like that. So
Mhm.
that's something I've noticed now that I've been able to like set boundaries, like certain boundaries with my family. I've been able to like, know my feelings, how I'm feeling, how I'm doing, how I'm thinking, why I'm thinking a certain way. It's a lot more like clear for me. Like
Mhm.
clarity. That's the
That's
word.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that. I
clarity.
love that for us. I'm so proud of us.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know
we
what's
are
crazy?
growing. Yeah, it's
Like
good growth.
and it's funny because like I don't know if you guys saw like the whole like paparazzi thing with Becky G that happened like
Ay, sí,
this
pobrecito.
this last week. If you guys didn't know, like Becky G went to Mexico and she got like hounded by paparazzi, like
Ay, sí.
crazy, like pobrecita. Guys know Becky. If you guys know Becky G, she's tiny, like she's little, like
Yes.
she's petite. She's so like she's adorable, and yeah, she got hounded by paparazzi and like they were yelling at her, like asking her questions, obviously about like her personal life and la pobrecita casi la atropellan ahí entre
Oh,
todos and people fell over. Las señoras ahí andaban como, ay no, bien, it was nuts. Like you guys could see it all
yeah.
over TikTok and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
like for me it was like that moment that I realized I'm like, damn, like we could, Mexico, like we're Mexicans, we could be really like nosy, like, and
Pushy.
I pushy and I get it. That's paparazzi's job. Like that's what they live
Same.
off. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Every paparazzi's like that. Everywhere. But like they were trying to make her feel bad for like her feeling unsafe and wanting to leave. Like they
Mm-hmm.
were telling her, "Te pasas, Becky. Like así vas a tratar la gente de México, like tú piensas que la gente de México, se merece esto, and like things like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is so mean to even tell her something like that. Like you could see it in her, like you could see she was panicking. Like, and there's like clips of her like, it's okay. So like literally her
Mm-hmm.
self-soothing. She was freaking out at like everything that was happening around her. And like to me, it's like, damn, look at how like como le están gritando and like
Mm-hmm.
and I think like for her to go, and if you guys didn't know, she actually went like on her Instagram and she shared about that,
Oh, I see.
about her experience, and like she
Mm-hmm.
talked about it, and she's like, you basically like boundaries, you know, she talked about this like, and I thought that was pretty like brave of her to do that, porque people are gonna judge her for that. And you know,
Yeah.
people are gonna be like, "Ay, like how we were saying, ay que payasa se portó," and like ya se cree mucho, and like you know stuff like that. Like I could
Que se
see
pongan ellos en lugar de ella. To see how they
exactly, you
feel.
know,
I
like
mean, who wants to be
yeah,
pushed and like, no, 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 no.
pobrecita. But yeah,
Sí.
like and I really saw that in her, and I'm like, dude, that's amazing that she spoke up about it, and because it's not easy. Like I could, and she even said it like, I'm really nervous to even bring this up.
Yeah.
And I thought like kudos to her, like I like that was really brave of her to even
Yeah.
mention it, porque somebody else wouldn't have wanted to go and say something like
No.
that, or you know, and she didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't think she did anything wrong. I think that's good that she shared her opinion, and if it was bothering her, like more power
Sí.
to her because she spoke up about it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like we're all of us are like unlearning, you know, all like those toxic
Yeah.
behaviors, and we're speaking up about it, and I think that's beautiful. I don't know.
Yeah, we're in that moment and it's
Mm-hmm.
time. It's time to start making those changes because, yeah, we're pretty intense.
Yeah.
Los latinos, we're pretty intense. Ahorita, cuando estabas diciendo todo lo que pasó la pobre de Becky G, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I can imagine, like, if you guys, like, watch that video, toda esa gente que la está empujando, just imagine that that's probably, like, our familias, you know, like, y nosotros ahí estamos,
¿Cuándo te vas a
como Becky
casar?
G, yeah.
María, María, ¿y los hijos para
Sí.
cuándo?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like thinking that. I was like, ¿estás de cuenta como nosotros también así?
That's
Que nos
so
están
true.
moleste y moleste. And like, oh, yeah, they're. No
Yeah.
sé, pero bueno, pues I'm happy that we were able to share about this and
Mm-hmm.
share our experiences because this is the only way to start making a change, to speak up, you know, to start talking about all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And some people might like it, some people might not, pero el que dirán, pues
¿Cómo es la queso?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, so yeah.
La queso.
El que dirán no importa aquí.
Sí.
Yeah, so
That's what
many
we're here
different
for.
things.
That's what
Sí,
we're here
sí, las
for, you know.
insightful
It's
babes.
hard.
Yeah.
It's hard opening up. It really is hard opening up and putting ourselves, giving our opinions and
Mm.
putting ourselves out there and being vulnerable, because some people are gonna agree with us, some people are not. But I feel like the some things are not easy to talk about, and those are the things that we need to talk about the most.
Sí,
So,
es incómodo.
sí.
Es incómodo hablar de estas cosas, especialmente with like our families, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's tiring. Like, can we admit that though? Like, it is
Mm-hmm.
tiring. It's pretty tiring having to explain to them and explain it
Mm-hmm.
again and again and again and again. But we shouldn't give up.
Yeah.
We should not give up. And if you need help, this is what, you know, community is for. La
Mm-hmm.
comunidad. You guys can
You're not
join us,
alone.
our community at Insightful Babes. Y si no, pues hay muchas comunidades out there on social media. I love seeing that. I love seeing all of those Latino brands. New
Yeah.
podcasts every single day, like speaking up
Mm-hmm.
about all of this. It's like, yes. Well, when Diana and I started Insightful Babes, it was back in 2019. No se miraba todo lo que se ve ahora. You know, it's
Sí.
like, I'm just so happy that there's other brands of Latinos podcasts who are starting to speak up and to join us, you know, with all of this movement of speaking up
Yeah.
y que ya calladita te ves más bonita, eso ya no.